Hey, what's up everyone? It's Zoko here with another New World video for you today. This game is going through a slew of changes and metas are going to be shifting every which way. During all of these adjustments, the markets are always in flux. Right now you're probably like, thanks professor, but what the hell do I need to sell? Alright, so I'm going to talk to you today about items you can always sell and make some money on. These items have some pretty consistent demand, at least from my point of view. I'm going to try and stick to things you can gather at pretty much any level. To be optimal, you might need to level up a bit for some of these, but it doesn't have to be endgame to do any of this really. This video will not include gear. Valuable gear is pretty much restricted to level cap, obviously, and because of all the nuances within gear, I would prefer to have a completely separate video regarding the sale of gear, which I will do in a bit. So without further ado, let's talk about selling not gear. So pretty much every tier of resource requires the tier before it to craft. And because of this base, resources will always be valuable. Maybe you can get more by refining them, maybe you don't, but checking the market on the current state should give you that information pretty easily. Now, the base resources, just to be clear, are stone from boulders, green wood from young trees, fiber from hemp, and rawhide from low-level animals. These can be found pretty much anywhere in the world. Rawhide will be from the lower-level animals specifically. Again, depending on your server and refining level, it may be better to process these materials into the next tier to get the most out of them, but that is something to check on for your particular server. Now, something that will certainly play a factor in whether you sell the raw material or refine it, first is your particular refining skill. The higher your skill is, the better chance for bonus materials from refining. Besides your own skill, if you have any gear to enhance refining, you should be using that if possible. This will certainly do a lot to enhance your profits and definitely needs to be taken into account when deciding what you want to do. The crafting system for New World is something you either hate or love, but the obvious benefit is, as a new player, minimal time in game, you can start gathering resources as soon as you are able and sell them for a profit, making early money as a newbie. Alright. What I am going to say now is going to sound pretty dumb, but selling water is about as easy as it gets in terms of money making methods. Just head to a freshwater spot and hold E once you see the prompt for fresh water. The easiest spot to gather in my opinion is the little stream going right through Windsward. This spot is very simple to gather just as much as you can. Yes, it is boring. There is absolutely nothing engaging about doing this, but because it is boring as shit, that means people don't want to do it and would rather purchase it. Hence, there is a market for it. Right now, water is selling for 0.25 on the market, and you get 10 per gather, which means every gather you are earning 2.5 gold. I get that it is slow, but in terms of effort, it's about as low as it gets. It's not a ton of money, but if you're hard up enough for some money and you don't have a lot of time to run an expedition or do some quests, simply gathering water is an easy way to make some progress towards whatever it is you're striving to accomplish. Now, something that's just about as easy to gather as water, but pulls even more gold, are Briar buds and Bulrush Cobb from the river. Just head to the hermit that's on the river west of Windsward. There's a fast travel shrine right there, so it's super easy to get there. Hop off and just run up and down the river as long as you want. If it's too busy, just head more north or south for a bit until you don't see as many people. Chances are pretty good you'll still see Briar buds or Bulrush around to gather. Briar buds and Bulrush are bouncing around 2 or 3 gold pieces as of late, which is pretty crazy to think about gaining that amount for this amount of work. It's not as fast as of a sale as motes, but it does come through eventually. Something that sells extremely fast are soul motes. These can be found in most regions of the world. Some of the best regions tend to be a bit higher level, so if you're a newer player, you might need to wait to get the most out of this. Currently on my server, there are going for right around 2 to 3 gold a piece. Last night I put up like 300 and sold them within 2 minutes. It certainly was a bit lucky to be that fast, and normally it doesn't like last through the night. I will always have the sale in the morning when I get up. Now always check your server again to see what's doing best moat wise, and figure out a route based on one of the resource maps online at like Map Genie or New World Map. Both are very helpful. Alright, so for the soul moats, the area we are going to is a bit southeast of Monarch's Bluff. This is a mix of soul sprouts, which require level 30 gathering, and soul spires, which requires 100 mining. If you're a super new, I realize you might not be at the mining point yet, but it really doesn't take too long to achieve, especially if you really start trying for it specifically. Now let me pull up a map to show the areas I focused on. If you go to all the moats around here, it is going to take a bit of time. This is not a super fast spot, but it is accessible as a lower level player. The route is pretty simple. You just port to this fast travel shrine to the southeast of Monarch's Bluff and start running around in the area. It is best to find some sort of loop that works for you to try and be as efficient as possible. If you come here during a higher population time, it's going to be pretty competitive to try and get some of the drops. Your income with this is very dependent on your own efficiency and how busy that area currently is. There are other moat types in the area, specifically life and earth. There's some supply chests among the ruins, orichalcum, and some weirdwood trees. Obviously that's high level resources, but if you have the ability, it's there. Alright guys, real quick, if you could take a second to hit the like button, I would really appreciate it. I'm going to keep pumping out the New World content, and all the support really helps. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Next up, we got herbs. These are pretty much found everywhere in this game. While different regions give different items that have varying degrees of value, they all give an item called hyssop. Now this is an item that goes in only a few recipes, mainly alchast concoctions within the arcana tree, or incense within the furnishing trade skill. I see it mostly used for alchast. I personally use this on some occasions when trying to level up my own arcana skill a bit. Very helpful to that end. But because it is such an easy recipe to take a major trade skill pretty high, the demand for it is fairly consistent. And that's as it is now. If they start adding more recipes that require this ingredient, I can really see the value increasing. I mean, that only makes sense if the amount of recipes requiring it goes up. For new players looking to grind out herbs, you won't have to go far because each of the low-level zones has a solid spot to do this. Because it is a low-level zone, there stands a decent chance to see other people that have the same idea, but trying an off hour or simply just going to the next spot I list here should help you. Okay, so here they are. For Monarch's Bluff, this location is Jawbone Cove. There's a nice chunk of herbs also southeast of the fort, but I don't like how long it takes to get there personally. Along with hyssop you gain from each of these locations, you will get oregano and paprika. For Everfall, you will be going west of the settlement to the beach area that borders Ebonscale. This region will also net you sage, basil, and garlic. Windsward spot is going to be Fury's Bay, which is just a short run from town to the southeast. You will get ginger, thyme, and mint in addition to the hyssop here. And finally, at first light, all you got to do is just head northeast of town, and you will be able to get some cinnamon, dill, nutmeg, and saffron. If you got any other suggestions for early level moneymakers, please leave them in the comments below. I want to help out as many people as possible, and in my opinion, it is a community effort. If you recently hit 60 and working to grind up that expertise score, I highly suggest watching this video. It goes over how I hit 600 in multiple pieces all within a week. Very helpful to those trying to get that gear score up to participate in some of that in-game content. Like, subscribe, I'm Zoko, and I'm out of here.